Welcome to the Black Doctor Collective podcast. We as Black doctors are in a unique position. We can change our communities, healthcare, and the world. Of course, we start by changing the way we see and value ourselves. I'm your host, Dr. Shanika Horn, pediatrician and physician coach, travel extraordinaire. I am so happy to have you here and listening. So let's get into it. Okay, so this week we are back with a guest episode. Pretty exciting. I have with me today Dr. Brittany Anderson, and she is a board-certified family medicine physician and the founder and CEO of Anderson Family Care. And this is a thriving practice that she launched in Alabama in 2022. She completed her undergraduate studies at Duke University and med school at University of Alabama, Birmingham. Why can I not read today, Lord? Bear with me. And she did her family medicine training in University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. She knows firsthand how overwhelming, let me say that again, how overwhelming and exhilarating it can be to step away from traditional models and create something of your own. And so that's why she's passionate about helping other physicians reclaim their freedom and their joy in medicine by launching successful private practices of their own, which we all know we need more of. And Absolutely. In addition to her clinical and coaching work, she hosts the podcast Physicians Hanging a Shingle. And she's honored to serve as the chair of the Alabama chapter of the American Academy of Family Physicians and the vice speaker for the Medical Association of the State of Alabama. She also serves on numerous boards throughout her community and state, working to amplify the voice of physicians and to improve healthcare access in Alabama. Because one thing Black women physicians are going to do is
all the things.
I feel like every time I read someone's bio, I'm like, dang, everyone.
When are we going to slow down, take a rest, right?
Like we're doing all the things.
All the things, making the world a better place. One Black woman at a time.
I'm so excited to have you on.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to our chat.
Yes, I agree. Okay, so I always start, you and I have had, I guess, like a couple conversations now. And so I want the audience to know your story. Like, how did you go from family medicine residency to creating your own practice? Because that's not advertised when we train.
Absolutely. And so did not get much of that in training. So all of my class, like everyone else in my residency program, there's 16 of us. It's a fairly big unopposed residency program that I did for family medicine. But like everyone else, I went straight into employed practice. Had a contract actually already signed before I got halfway through third year of my residency training, and grew up in rural Alabama, on a farm in Alabama, knew that I wanted to serve in a rural population, serve the underserved, those who needed me most and who need me most. And so I went straight into employed practice at an FQHC, or federally qualified health center. And so all through the day, saw uninsured and underinsured patients. And it was a great experience for the work that I was doing. I love the patients that I saw, but administratively, it was a different story. I know in the incredible work that you're doing, already what I mean when I say administratively, It was a different story. And if I'd known you then, I probably could have renegotiated some things and ended up in a much better space. But it was tough. I loved the work that I was doing. It was me, my front desk receptionist, and an RN. And some days the receptionist couldn't be there, and it was just me and the nurse. Some days the nurse couldn't be there, and it was just me and the receptionist. Some days neither the nurse nor the receptionist were there, and it was just me. I was checking insurance, triaging patients, seeing them, drawing their labs, call the prescriptions in, everything. And as you can imagine, that didn't last long. Fresh out of residency, talking to my friends from residency who were doing all these great things, I couldn't do it. And then other things started happening. The hospital there, we're talking about rural Alabama, the hospital closed, all these things that just became a setup that this isn't working. We got to find something else to do. So looking for something else to do. Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. Looking for something else to do. I spoke with our former residency director and somehow found myself in academic medicine, which was great for me because I love teaching. And if it could have been in my head, it was going to be perfect. And so I love teaching. I have medical students, residents, and at the same time, I do that 2 days a week. Then 3 days a week would be in rural clinic, right? And it was great until it wasn't great. And the wasn't great part of it, I think, is maybe what a lot of people find with academic medicine is that you'll be in clinic and or in a situation, staff meeting, whatever, but you start to think of things that could be different. Think of things that could be different, that should be different. And then there's that process of having to run it up the chain, right?
The red tape.
The red tape. And my personality is just one that doesn't allow me to wait for the red tape.
Right.
And so there were things that I wanted to do, not even just wanted to do, things that I could look at and say, we can do better than this, y'all, or this is not right by patients, or there has to be a different way. And to have to ask 10 people
to do that immediately. No.
Immediately no. Immediately no.
I find that like academic medicine and just like, I think just anything that's built into some kind of corporate structure or academic structure, it's like their motto is relentless incrementalism. It's like you have to just keep pushing just to make these tiny little steps. And then it's 50 steps back. And you're so frustrated. And I realize, like, for me in fellowship, like global health fellowship, working partners with like governments and like the government is like, when you said federally qualified health center, I'm like, anything government run is built on relentless incrementalism. I cannot, my patience is not set up for that.
I love it. Relentless incrementalism. That is it. Those are 2 words right there. But it was, and it's just, and it is the surest path to burnout. If you have a personality like mine, or even like yours, and what I know of you and I can't, that's not what God put us here for. And so I pushed and pushed until I realized that I was literally pushing against a brick wall for a lot of reasons. I mean, here I was still a young Black female coming into these academic institutional settings, wanting to change things. And it went on the menu, right? I pushed for the seat at the table, but what I wanted was not on the menu. And so it wasn't happening. And so it got to a point, and I'll tell you, the point really was me. I have a passion for teaching. I have a passion for mentoring, and I have a very specific passion. I love teaching and mentoring anyone, but I have a very specific passion for mentoring folks who look like me, who have never seen docs, who look like them, who think they want to do medicine. My fundamental story is that my parents say I wanted to be a doctor since I was 6, that I've said that since I was 6. And I don't know why, because I never saw a doctor who looked like me until I got to college, right? And so who am I to think I could do this? But that is
imagination of childhood. Listen.
From 6 years old on. But that is my passion, is wanting to have students in clinic to let them shadow. And it became I could see a kid at church who, oh, Dr. Anderson, can I come shadow you in clinic? And my answer is yes, but the institution's answer is no. And so that became
so annoying.
And so that really became the tipping point. There was one student that I was set against. I wanted the student to come shadow me, and it just wasn't happening in the way I needed it to happen for the student to get what they needed. And so I just got completely frustrated with it, on top of the things that I wanted to do for patient care and all these other things. And it was, I need a vacation. I need a vacation. I need a break. And so I bought a plane ticket, a round trip plane ticket. It, in hindsight, maybe should have been one way, but a round trip plane ticket, went to Honolulu, Hawaii. And girl, before I got back to Alabama, I'd written my letter of resignation. I had my whole business plan done, and I was ready to go. I was ready to go.
I love that. That's the thing. It's like people often want to wait for like clarity and moments, but honestly, it's just a decision.
It is.
And you just have to be like, I've had enough. This is it. I don't need to experience more. I'm done.
Yeah. And it's where you find peace. And when you find something that is peaceful to you, even in your mind, then it's the next move, right? It is the next move. There's no second guessing that joy, that excitement that comes with thinking you can do something. That there's no replacement for that. It's just get out there and go do it. And so I came back to Alabama just determined. I gave my letter of resignation. There was no emotion from the other side when I gave my letter. And I was like, this is confirmation. It is time for me to go and watch me work.
You know what's funny about that is that a lot of people have hesitation at that exact moment. Oh, I'm going to submit my resignation. Oh my God, what are they going to say? What's the argument going to be? Is there going to be some kind of confrontation? And half the time they submit, there's either no response or they're just like, thank you. And then they move on. And you're like, I have been holding myself back from saying what I wanted to say. And you guys don't even care.
Don't even care. Don't even care. You're so fun. It's so funny that you say that because I'd worked every angle of it in my head.
Mhm.
And I literally got a good luck, stand
Yeah.
up and open the door.
Yes. And I've heard like all kinds of responses, but some of them, obviously the worst responses are like, you'll be back. You're not going to make it out there kind of attitude.
Yeah.
And some of them are just like complete indifference. I don't know which one's worse. They kind of both feel bad.
Pretty bad. Yeah. Yeah. I was shocked. And that was the kick that I needed. So even though I already settled in my head that this was going to be great, after that, I was like, this is going to be better than great. Whatever better than great is, it's about to be.
I can do that. Yep. Yep. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so started there. I gave them a 3 months notice. I worked those 3 months, but every day I'd get up, go to work their shift, do what I needed to do. And the moment I got in my car after working, it was the work in my mind. It was the work on my kitchen table. And I put in 3 months of hard work. And on my very last day, the next day, I launched the social media, had an incredible launch to our Facebook page, got lots of just good feedback and interaction, and then just took off with marketing the practice and building the practice the way I wanted to. That's what I tell folks that I'm working with or coaching even, that the biggest part of building your own practice is getting away from what you've always had to do. Who says this has to be 8 to 5? Who says this has to be 5 days a week? Who says you have to see patients in 10 to 15-minute increments? But build it the way you want to do it. And that's been just the most fun getting to do that.
Yeah. It's funny because, part of my story is like, I really thought I wasn't going to be practicing medicine at all. Like after I was so burnt out that I was like, I am done with this. And I see this all the time with a lot of doctors. They either want to get out of medicine completely or they want to do something adjacent like utilization management or like work for pharma or like something that's just not clinical medicine. And actually, I find like those are not the true desire, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's based on this like root belief that medicine only looks like this.
Yes.
And so if you don't feel like you can change it or practice the way you want, then of course you're going to be like, I don't want that. Right. So I love this idea of I get to do it the way I want to do it, because that in and of itself is like, for some people, like, what?
It's everything.
Do this?
Yeah, it's everything. And it creates or at least it's created in me, this joy of going to work. There were times that I literally would sit in my car and have to give myself a full-on pep talk before I got out of the car because of just that weight that you felt going in. And I don't feel that in my private practice. Now, that is not to say that private practice is not stressful. Yeah. It is certainly stressful on its own, but it's my stress. And it's the stress that at any moment I can make a decision and change it. And so if I'm stressed out because we're staying too long into lunchtime, then okay, we cut the last patient of the day before lunch, right? There are things that I can do to make immediate changes. And that has been the most rewarding part of being in private practice, that the things that stress me out, I have the ability, the power to make changes to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I think like for me, like I'm in a new role of like medical director that I started in February. And it's like a new experience for me, but because it's like privately owned by another pediatrician, I do feel that sense of, oh, I can actually change things. Like I am like changing the work day, like as we go through it. And I think that's what a lot of people crave. It's just like, you see a problem, you want to fix it. We don't have time to go through 50 layers of approval. And also, you also want to do it in a way that's beneficial to both you, your staff, and patients.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love this. I love this whole energy. I'm with it. This is like the new version of the soft life.
There you go. Exactly. This is it. Yeah, that part has been great. And you mentioned that about staff too. And that's one of the things that I love is that they feel empowered too, because again, they're not working in a system. They now are employed in a private practice where, I think I said before, we have a staff meeting every week, Wednesday. We go through the things on the agenda for the staff meeting, but we don't end without going around and everybody giving us a new idea, right? We're not going to take the new idea and put it into place, every single person's idea every week, but there are times that everyone looks like, yeah, that's a good idea. Why haven't we thought of that before? Let's start that when clinic starts back this afternoon at 1:30. And that being able to empower your staff like that makes them want to come to work the next day and really gives them some ownership in the practice too and wanting to see the practice succeed. And so that's been great. And so from my standpoint, from my staff standpoint, and I hope from my patient standpoint that they realize too the beauty of being able to be seen at an independent practice, that they don't have to go through the hoops and spin the wheels that they would have to in a system-based practice. And I think that they really enjoy and appreciate that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I have found that if you are doing it in a way that's like meaningful to you, it actually translates, right? Everyone benefits.
Absolutely.
If we're all happier in our workplace, if we're all well rested and well compensated, and like things just blossom from that. You can't blossom from scarcity.
Put that somewhere. I'm about to write it down if you don't mind. You'll hear
No,
it.
not at all. But you really can't. Like, it's like they say, if you can't receive with a closed fist, right?
Yep.
Just this grip that medicine seems to want to put on everyone, where it's just constantly squeezing and trying to wring things out of people who are already wrung dry. It's
Right.
not, it's not a sustainable system. You can see the impact, right? Like you can see the culture of medicine, not just for physicians, but also for patients.
Exactly. And what they expect and what they come to expect and what they think is okay. And that comes from even in independent practice, employed practice, whatever. But you're right, the patients begin to see that and the patients feel what you feel. The patients know when you, as their physician, are completely stressed out, maxed out, and they can sense that. And it certainly affects the way we care for patients.
Absolutely. Okay, so you're like, I am launching, I am doing the things, I'm making changes real time. How long have you been in private practice?
July 5th of this year was 3 years. So practice launched July 5th, 2022. Like I said before, I went ham with marketing, just put everything I had into it. And we opened with a full panel of patients. Like there was no, let's slow walk into this and see how this goes. It was, let's do this. At our open house, this place was full. The month before, I brought my staff in a month early. And so we were getting everything ready in the clinic and at the same time receiving people who wanted to be patients, letting them come in, and word of mouth, our marketing, those kinds of things just really took off. And again, when we opened the practice, we're all excited about it. It's just the new cool place to be. And we got there and have done a really good job of providing really good care. And so word of mouth continues to carry it to the point that now, so I brought a PA in January and have a new doc coming in November because we can't see the patients we have. Like they're calling, we have 6 to 8 people call almost every day wanting to be new patients. And we have to say, we're full, we can't take new patients. And so we hit the, and thankfully, thanks to God, have not slowed down since then. It's been up and we've had a good time doing it. So 3 years and super excited about how it's gone.
That's amazing. And also like the dream, right? Okay. Like me as a person who has never started a practice,
You should. Everybody should.
I agree. I think more doctors definitely should. And my boyfriend's been trying to pitch this to me since we started dating in 2021. And I was like,
You got me on his side now. I'm with him on.
Listen, I was like in full resistance when we met, and he was like, I don't understand, because he's an engineer and he's very like, hey, we just need to do these things, like boom, 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 boom.
Pragmatic. There you go.
And I was like, I'm so burnt. I was so burnt out. He met me at peak burnout. So I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
But okay, so I guess my question, and what I'm going to like presume is a common question for people who are even considering this, right? Like we look at you and we're like, oh wow, she did like a great job, but that seems like she's a special unicorn. I don't know if I can do what you have done. So yeah, I guess tell us why it's something that like anyone can do or make.
Yeah. So in that it comes up so frequently that, oh, Brittany, you could do this. It doesn't mean that I could do it. Do this, right? We survived organic chemistry. We can intubate, we can run codes, we survived intern year in-house. We can do just about anything. Okay. And so it's a matter of just like when we were in our training, putting our mind to it, having a framework of some kind to be able to do it. And I think that's the kicker there. It's having that framework or even just the idea of how to do it. And then this idea of not trying to do it yourself, right? Like we didn't just run in on a code and start running it. We learned it first. We did all of our training first. We had somebody there beside us before we dropped the tube the first time. And so it's really being receptive to taking that help. So there were so many things, and I'll be the first one to admit, so many things that I did with my own startup that I should have asked for more help with. I made our website, like all the things. I was like, I got time. I feel good. I was on
Yeah.
like that kick.
I made my website too, and I will never do that again. But yes, I'm with you. I understand.
But it was just that drive. And it's like you said, when you hit that peak of burnout, it's like something has to give. And
Yeah.
when you get into that mind of planning it and you just get excited and you start to feed off of that excitement. And so one of the things that I tell folks when I work with them is that, yes, you want to ask for help, but I think what you don't want is for somebody else to build your whole practice for you, right? You need to have that input because that will fuel you throughout the process. That'll fuel you when you're at the bank asking for money. It'll fuel you when, AT&T doesn't come through like they're supposed to, all those things that happen. But there's not a unicorn part to it. I think that we as physicians we're well trained to do a lot of things that when we started, we could not do. We couldn't do it all. And as mild as taking a history, those are things that we did not get right from the beginning. And
So
so,
funny. Yeah. I just
no,
taught we had the new medical assistant I just hired last week. I just taught her, by the time y'all listen to this, it'll be more than a week, but I just hired a new MA and she was like, I have to get used to like presenting to the doctors like I wasn't doing that in my previous practice. And so I taught her like Socrates. I'm like, site, onset, characteristics. I was like, just write it down and just do the thing. Like, just fun. She said, oh, this is so helpful. And I was like, so funny that like really in life, all you need is a framework.
all you need is a framework. All you need is a framework, a little bit of willpower, some grit, and a couple people who have done it, right? That can look at that when you get to a lag and having the mindset, the wherewithal that you need, that you got somebody who can give you a kick in the behind and push you on in the right direction. And so it is one of those things that now being on the other side of it, I encourage every doc to, if you want to do it. Now, there's some people who are made to be employed, right? Who are made to be employed, who work better in that system, who for family reasons or personal reasons, whatever it is, the private practice doesn't make sense for them. And that is completely okay. But my hang up is the people who want to do it but think they can't. No, I can't. I jokingly tell the college now, the university, that you send me anybody, I can turn them into a physician. And I think at the same point, you send me anybody, I can turn them into a private practice doc because the framework is there. And I think once you really get into it and see that even I'm an insurance-based practice, we are profitable. We are absolutely profitable. And so it's just a lot of demystifying the process and knocking out kind of some of the falsehoods that are out there around private practice and insurance-based especially.
Yeah. I'd love to hear you say that just because I think people often need reminders that like we've actually accomplished a lot, right? We done been through it. Okay. One of the biggest pet peeves I have with medicine is that most people entering medicine have a sort of like perseverance that will take them through. Like how many anything, right? Like most people have a story of someone told them they wouldn't be able to do it, someone told them not to do it. And we are like, maybe masochistic, maybe, but we decided we're going to do it. Like, we're going to prove everyone wrong. And we had that like innate confidence, innate perseverance, so that we were like, I could figure out anything. I had the attitude of like, I could do anything for a period of time. Like one of my friends would say, I could learn anything. Like I have the capacity to learn anything.
Yeah.
And at some point in medicine, it's like they trample it out of you.
They beat it out of us.
Beat it out of you. Trample it.
They beat it out of us and teach us to go with the flow.
Yeah. But it totally squashes that really critical characteristic. And I think that new characteristic of not being able to like not realizing your own value and that and like losing your confidence is what people have like why people have a hiccup now of oh I can move into private practice or I can't. Now
Right.
it's timid.
Hmm. I think that makes so much sense, and I'm sure that you see that in your work also, just with people
Yeah.
trying to negotiate contracts and things like that. It's this idea of, is it quote unquote okay for me to go against the grain, because the
Yeah.
grain has again been beaten into us through our training and through the early years of employment. So absolutely, I think that it's there and something that we have to push against.
Yeah.
Pushing against it is the only way you get to the other side of it.
I think it was absolutely a necessary survival mechanism
Mhm.
for probably medical school and residency to just try to fit in and like swim in the school, right? Be somewhere in the middle and just hope for the best. And I think that's who we all needed to be for that period of time. But we have to be very intentional about resetting that
Yeah.
and not, I'm sorry?
And I was saying, I think so many people aren't.
Yeah, we don't even think about it because now it's so we're so indoctrinated into this mindset of just keep following the flow, just keep following instructions. It's how people end up in academia and these like positions they don't even want,
Yeah.
waiting for the next promotion, waiting for the next like someone just showing them this is the next step and they just keep following the pathway and then they realize I don't even want to be here.
Didn't want to be here to start.
This sucks. Like, how did I end up
Yeah.
on this eighth committee? I don't even want to do this thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's real. That's real.
Yeah, yeah. Was there like a breaking point for you, or when you flew to Honolulu and you were like, I'm done with this? I guess the question is like, what do you tell yourself? What is the story that you're repeating to yourself in that moment that allows you to be like, I can do anything? Is it this narrative of I learned all this stuff, I can overcome all this stuff?
Yeah. So it was a lot of that. And a lot of also something has to change, right?
Yeah.
Something has to change. And that, I'll be honest with you, is what I would sit in my car in the morning while I was giving myself the pep talk. I was saying something has to change. And that something is one of two things, right? It's either they're going to change or I'm going to change. And the chances of they, and they being whatever institution you want to put there, is slim. I have no control over that. So why not change the thing that I can control? And so
That's
for
it.
me, and not even that works for me even now. If you were to tell me a few words that really light me up, it's something has to change. And what are the two variables and which of those two things are going to change? And I'm the only one who can control, truly the things that go on with me on this side. And there was a lot of praying in Honolulu. There was a lot of just laying out in the sand and relaxing and doing the things that I otherwise didn't get to do. But then there was also a lot of work. Like I'm telling you, I left there with my whole business plan written,
Yeah.
the whole business plan written. And I already knew going into it. I took a book with me, and you mentioned the word antiquated earlier, and like an antiquated book about starting a medical practice. And I honestly left there and said, after I hit 2 years of successful practice, I'm writing a book better than this one, because this one gave me
Girl.
maybe the best, but did not give me what I needed. And so it
Yeah.
was this struggle of trying to figure out how I do this, how I go about navigating it. So one of the other things I did before I left was made a huge spreadsheet. I'm a spreadsheet girl. Made a
Yes, sir.
huge spreadsheet, thought about 10 private practice docs who some had started their practice a few years ago, some had been in practice for 20, 30 years. But when I came back, my plan was to ask all of them these same 20 questions that I'd come up with. So I used their feedback from all of their questions and really started to build what would become my practice. And so
Please
what I
put
could
that in the
see,
book too, girl.
I'm going to put that in the book. I'm going to do a podcast episode about that. I'm going to do that.
Put that in the book because that is so good. I think that's it, right? Knowing who your resources are, knowing who to ask, because again, you could figure it out. And the fastest way to figure it out is to talk to more people
Great.
and like really tap into your network. And people just don't do that because they're busy telling themselves they don't know how to do it. But like, again, we could figure out anything.
Yeah, we literally indicate.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Oh, that's so good. I feel everybody needs this reminder so often to be like, you can literally figure things out.
And medicine is the perfect example of that. Like we have done hard things. And I know everybody in life does hard things, but we have done really hard things.
Like
Really,
mentally challenging, like internally challenging things.
and you get through that, then you've got the mental fortitude to truly get through anything. It's just, are you up for the same challenge? That same challenge that was before you when you were running codes, intubating, delivering babies, all these things. Are you up for that same challenge now as a
Yeah.
full attending adult?
Yeah. And actually, I think the challenge is better because that training challenge was not something you controlled.
Yeah. And not something that you truly benefited from. I don't say that you benefited from it because you got to graduate and got to move to
Yeah.
the next, but didn't like, but not the pride
Yours.
that comes with
Right.
sitting back and being like, gosh, isn't that
Ah, yeah. Oh, I love this because I feel like someone listening is going to be like, okay, this was my sign. Do not wait for a sign of your sign. There are no
yeah.
signs coming. This is the sign.
This is
Hey,
it.
neon lights
Yeah.
flashing. Open the practice.
Go do it. It's there and it's totally possible. It's totally possible. We've done hard things. Add this to the list.
Yeah. So you mentioned like you have a framework and like you basically found, I'm sure you've even fine-tuned it since like in having your experience. Tell us about how you're going to help other people with their frameworks because people love a framework. Like everything about medicine is formulaic. So
Everything about medicine is formulated, you're right? And it's all a framework. And what I love about it is that the way I do it when I'm working with clients and coaching is that framework is still not a cookie cutter, right? And so the framework is just that. It's the outline of if we go through these 10 steps, these major 10 steps, we're going to hit everything. But I'm not telling you this is how you should do it because this is how the last doc I worked with did it. You still get to really lay into what means or what you want for your practice. And I do some coaching. So I've got a podcast for one, and the podcast is just really pragmatic. Like I break it down. Here is how I had a successful Facebook launch. This is what you need to think about for malpractice insurance. Like these are the different types of insurance you think about. So just really how to, and then there's some mindset work in there. But some people, like me especially, I need someone to talk through things
yeah,
with me, right? I love being able to sit down and listen to podcasts and episodes and things like that, but I need that human connection. And I prefer that connection to be from someone who has gone through it themselves.
right.
So there are these mega companies out there that you can pay tons of money to, and they will give you a cookie cutter practice or quote unquote walk you through how to start it up. Absolutely. Are they physicians? Most of the time, not. If they are, have they started a private practice? Most of the time, not. In my coaching program, it's one-on-one coaching, and we walk through the framework of process from ideation. So getting your vision initially and having that set vision so that when days get tough, you've got something to look back at. That this is what you said on day one, why you wanted to start this practice. These are the type of people that you want to take care of. And this is what your vision was to start with. And so we go from there. We go through getting your entity set up and all of the licensing that you need. We go through marketing the practice. We go through the making the math in practice, whether it's insurance based or direct pay practice. And we go through location, services, deciding your space, what you want that space to look like. Now, I'm not an interior designer or architect or any of those things, but we talk through what you want. And really, it is getting you aware of just the tools that you need so you can go out and do the things that you need to do. And so we go through that all the way through the launch, through the open house, through the first couple of days of seeing patients. And it is, again, a 10 session program. And we go through all the things. And I've had a great time going through it with docs. I'm working with a pediatrician right now who I'm so excited for her to open a practice soon. But it's just something about having done it myself and having done it so recently. And it's all still fresh, right? It's all still fresh. And even before this, it's what I spent all my time doing, right? So outside of clinic, I'm on the phone with docs who are starting their practices and they've got questions about EHR and that kind of thing. And being able to put it into a framework that makes sense and that is beginning to end has been
Right.
really fun.
Yeah. So y'all listen, if you are a physician who is interested in starting a private practice, but you're not sure what all the steps are, you don't want to make a mistake, you want to do things in the right order, because we like to do things exactly in the perfect order so that we don't mess up and there's no hiccups. There's an actual step-by-step plan for this.
Yes,
Get to
it
shape.
works.
That works. that Dr. Brittney will teach you. That's just what it is, right? So I think that's like the most straightforward program ever, right? Like I want to get from I have no idea anything about private practice to launching a successful practice. Dr. Brittney has a formula, boom.
And we work through a workbook, we have worksheets for each one. All of my templates I've already made. There's no need to be recreating the wheel. The wheel is there. I got the wheel already. Right. Borrow the wheel. All right. Can borrow the wheel and go in and fine tune it. And so that's what docs do. I may have some questions in my template that they don't want to ask their new patients or things that they do want to ask, but here is the template. So you're not up at night recreating this whole thing. And the other thing, if I can add, is that we live in a space now that people think, oh, I can just Google this or Chat GPT can do this for me. Chat GPT cannot build your medical practice. All right. Cannot build your medical practice. You need to be in your medical practice. You need to be through every piece of that practice. And it's not just letting something spit out to you what you should do, but you need to be able to talk through it with someone. And whether that's me or your best friend's parent or anything, you need to be able to talk through it with somebody who has done it to make sure that you're not just doing something that the internet has given you, as my grandma calls ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's really what it is. It's not that, honestly, it's not that you couldn't figure it out on your own, right? That's never really the problem. It's just that it's going to take you a lot more time and you're going to make more mistakes, right? And some of those mistakes will be costly.
They cost money.
Right.
Or they cost time, which is even more expensive than money.
Thank you, because time is the most valuable resource, right? So those are the things I always find like with programs or courses or like something that has a set framework is like, that's the goal. Yeah, you could figure it out, but it's just the way we talk to our patients, right? Like they Google, look what happens when they Google stuff.
Yeah.
They go to Dr. Google or TikTok University.
Oh gosh, that works.
And they come in with these piecemeal bits of information. It's not in the right order. It has some misinformation and they cannot piece it together. And so they still have to come to you to help them make it into an actual thing. So I always tell my, like, don't Google, just come. Just
don't Google, just come. There you go. There you
go. Because it's too much. So similarly, like I think most physicians, I think we're at the point professionally that we know that investing in a structured program makes sense. So I usually don't feel like, for the most part, people find like a good value in a good framework. But yeah, I think at this point, ain't nobody got time to be.
Nobody. I figured this all out on your own. I went and talked maybe 2 weeks ago now to a group of residents, and I can't tell you from the beginning to the end, they gave me 45 minutes to talk. And the residents were having like their own like group forum, like residency forum or something that came up afterwards, like their closed door. And so we get to the end of the 45 minutes and one of the chief residents stands up and was like, we can have our group meeting later. Let's keep this going. And it was refreshing, like the questions that they asked, but it was also that realization that they're still not getting this. They're still not getting this in their training. And so I think it's so important to start even getting it into the residents early, just like you were saying before. Go ahead and start that process much earlier so that you may not even have to get to that point of burned out in employee practice.
Yeah, exactly. I think our residency trainings, our med school trainings, all of these things are really lacking because they don't expose us to the business aspect of medicine. And medicine is an actual business.
A whole business.
And healthcare is actually like one of the fastest growing profitable sectors in this country. Like financially, it is a massive like undertaking. It is very profitable, which is why you see everybody who's a non-physician in this business.
Yep.
Everybody and their mama.
It is so true. So true.
Yeah. It's really a disservice for us because we're becoming employees in other people's systems and they're not even the expert.
That's it.
Very backward.
It is so backwards. And it is I got an email. I don't know if I got an email one day last week from a private equity firm asking if I wanted to sell my practice. And I would not show anybody my response to that email because it was not. And first of all, it started with them, hey, hi, Brittany, something. And I was like, first of all, respect on my name,
thank you.
Chris. No. Not signing, signed Dr. Anderson. Yeah.
I find people very audacious with the removing my title. You are addressing me in a professional setting. You better come correct.
Yeah, bold, bold. But
Very
you're
bold.
so right that you get these corporations. Medicine is a business. Even private practice is business. I tell my staff all the time, every Wednesday when we meet, yes, we are here to serve, but we are also here to earn. I am responsible for putting food on the table for your children to eat, right? And so at the end of the day, we have got to be making money in order for this practice to run and be successful because we realize we're providing good care, right? So why would we put ourselves in a situation to even potentially go under and then leave our patients to not have good care? So if nothing else, at the end of the day, we have to make money so that we can continue to take care of patients, but they're to take good care of patients. But you're so right that there are these corporations and private equity firms and all these folks who realize just what you said, that medicine, healthcare in general, it's going to make money and they're here just to capitalize and it does not matter to them much about true patient care at all. And that's unfortunate.
They do not care. They are not here for your grandma's benefit or your kid's benefit. They are here solely for the dollars.
That's wow.
And yeah, that's the thing. And that's really what's like totally screwed up medicine, right? It's like everybody feels like a cog in the wheel and you're churning out patients at this crazy volume because it's profitable. And it has become so much profit over people. Yeah. That's honestly the root of burnout, right? It's you're not
Absolutely.
even doing the best job we think we can do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. You're running a practice. Like we already read your bio with the 50 things that you're doing. So you're running a practice. You have a coaching program teaching other docs how to run their practice. Where can people who are interested in just getting this framework, getting these like sessions, because 10 sessions is not even a long time. Like you could be up and running.
Absolutely. They're
So
10
it's,
1 hour sessions.
yeah. So imagine you could spend 10 hours of your life to create your own business, which is like amazing. Where can they find this info? Because this is
Oh,
gold.
okay. The podcast. So the
Yeah.
podcast is called Physicians Hanging a Shingle. I have a new episode every week. And in the show notes of all the podcasts are the links to everything, including the link that goes to the coaching site. What the podcast also does is so there are two parts of it. One, the how-to part, and the other just the mindset
Right.
talks that are there too, which I think are so important. I also do a lot of just social media. So Instagram there. We've got a private Facebook group called Physicians Starting Private Practices. And it's just a really good time to be in community with other docs who are in the process of doing it as well, which is so needed too, that community part. And so those are the spaces to find. So Facebook, the Facebook group, Instagram, and then the podcast. I also have a checklist. And so that I love a good checklist. I think I said that earlier, but the checklist truly walks you through, or at least shows you, doesn't walk you through, but shows you the steps that you need to hit, that you have to hit in order to start a private practice. And so I can share maybe the link with you for that. And if anyone is interested in going through that checklist, then it at least lets you, even if you're not decided, it at least gives you a look at, oh my gosh, this is what I need to do. I can do this. I can't do this part. I need help with this. I can do this myself, that kind of thing. I think it's good to at least have something realistic in front of you to show you what that process looks like. And then if you need coaching to walk through it, then boom, there you go. Let's do it.
Yeah. So is anyone eligible to join your Facebook group?
Yeah, so you got to be a physician. So I've had several like COOs want to join it. I'm like, it's not
They
exactly like
want, they are
you want
like
everything. You want it
everything. They're going to put their little grubby little fingers in all of it.
exactly what it is. And so now it is for physicians only. And I'll even tell you, most of the folks, not most, maybe half of the folks who are in it have already started their private practice and they're maybe 6 months into it. And they are finding just as much benefit as the folks who are still in the building phase. And it's because these are some things that come up, little prompts that I put up that are things that they didn't even think about in their own startup process. And so I think that it really is helpful either to those who are thinking about starting a private practice in the middle of the kind of launch process or those who have recently launched a practice. So yeah, open to all docs. Happy to have anyone, any specialty, whether you plan to be insurance based or direct primary specialty care. We've got a room for everybody.
Awesome. Okay. So we'll put all of those in the show notes. We'll put the website, we'll put the podcast link, we'll put the Facebook group. So that'll be super helpful. And everyone can just go right there and click it. It'll be in the YouTube, it'll be on the actual podcast platforms. That way everyone can access it. Yeah, this is good information, right? Like, this is exactly what we need. Like you said, I think we're at a time in history where individualism is leading us astray. And this every man for themselves. And I don't think a benefit is a good benefit if it doesn't help me. Like, attitude is really going to be the downfall. And I think communities like ours, I think particularly Black communities and communities of color tend to be not individual, like you're like singly centric, right? They tend to be like community focused. And this is exactly what, your message is, right? Like, yeah. So we definitely need to lean on each other. We need to be in community. We need to support each other because that is the way forward. And it's the only way that we're going to get through the next decade. So, yeah. And how we're going to make medicine sustainable.
Absolutely. Sustainable for us and sustainable for our patients, right? And we know that docs who look like us are primarily the ones who are taking care of patients who look like us. And so we are certainly making our community, our people healthier by getting ourselves to a space where we feel good about where we practice medicine. So.
Yeah. I think this is a perfect time for me to bring up my favorite study. I think it was 2024 or 2023. They discovered, I think it's New England Journal of Medicine. I always forget, but I think it's New England. But it shows that a single Black physician in a county increases the lifespan of all of the county's constituents, including the ones they do not see.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I see that. In my own community, I absolutely see that.
Yeah, and there is like literally this impact of having a Black physician in a county. And so that's why I'm always in support of making medicine sustainable, making anything that keeps us in practice or allows us to provide better care for longer. I'm like for, because actually that's what's going to improve healthcare.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. I've got to go find that
Yeah,
study.
I'll send it to
That's
you.
what we need. When you and I both, we see it with our patients, we see it with our patients' families. There's not a day goes by that a patient doesn't stop and pray with me. There's not a day that patient who looks like me doesn't stop and pray with me. A patient who looks like me doesn't tell me that he or she is so proud of me. And I think, know that my grandparents are proud of me, my parents are proud of me. It's just, and they bring their families. Let me know when you're taking patients again, because I got my 3 kids and my 2 grandkids and my cousin and my uncle who are going to come see you too. I'm like, okay, but that is,
Right.
you're right. We're healing whole communities, and that is the shift that has to happen.
Yeah, I think that's like literally the crux of it is community-based interventions, community impact. So whether we're doing it within our doctor communities, whether we're doing it within our patient communities, this is it. This is the thing that brings us fulfillment. This is the thing that creates impact for us, creates legacy for us. So I'm in full support of all these motions. Okay. Is there anything else you think like our audience should know, should think about? Anything that you were like, oh, I would have loved to have shared this?
My favorite couple words is that private practice is not dead, right? That you will hear people say private practice is dying or dead or all of those things. It's not. I think at some point the pendulum has to swing back, and that folks are going to start realizing that private practice really gives that autonomy and that bit of self-satisfaction in our careers that we're looking for. And so don't let anyone tell you that private practice is dead or that it's not possible or that it's too hard or something that you can't do, because there are several of us who are out here doing it and who go to work happy every day, who leave work happy every day, and who are making their communities healthier. So private practice is dead is not the truth. It is alive, it is thriving, and I am passionate and dedicated to helping more docs successfully launch their private practice. One thing, just launch one, but we are trying to successfully launch practices that will be successful for a long time and be a legacy, like you said, a legacy for our families, for those that we mentor in the future.
Yeah, it's really about sustainability, right? Sustainability includes like success because you can't do it if you're not successful.
You can't. You can't.
Oh my God, this was amazing. This was such a good talk. I am excited to see Like, I want to hear from the audience, like once they are listening to your podcast, once they're joining your group, like I want to see if someone like listened to this episode and was like, I am ready to start my practice. I want to hear those kinds of stories. So
when you hear them, I need to hear them too. Okay.
yeah,
That will
definitely.
push me on.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's so many people that want this. So this is like such a perfect, like, this is perfect. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Brittany.
I'm so appreciative to you for the work that you're doing, for one, but also for having me on the show today and allowing me to share my platform and what I want to do in medicine. I will never forget our first conversation that you dropped so many good pearls. I don't even know if you were dropping them or not, but one of the things you said really stuck with me. And it was something like, there's no need for me to gatekeep anything. And that is the new model that I will push to live by, is that we are all trying to find our way here, and we've got to do it in community. And but again, it's who's going to help us if we don't help ourselves and help each other, because there are not a lot of folks who are out here for us. And so I appreciate you for that, what you've done.
Yeah, I know I like fully support that, because when we support each other, we change the culture, and the cultural shift impacts all of us. So to me, I'm like, come on, let's do this. Let's like,
I love it.
if we're all earning more, if we're all like getting more control of our time, then that just becomes the status quo. It makes it so much easier to live like that.
It makes it easier to live, and it makes it easier for the ones who will come behind us who look like us.
So
thank you. I've enjoyed this so much. Thank you. Thank you.
This is fun. We'll have to do this again. So, well,
you know, my podcast. We got to do it on mine too. Absolutely. Whatever you want to talk about, I'm here for.
And we'll do some follow-ups, right? Because I'm sure there's going to be new developments and things that come down the line. So I think that'll be fun.
Love that. That's wonderful. Thank you again.
Awesome. All right, guys. So please check the show notes. Please join the Facebook group. Please check out the podcast, Physicians Hanging a Shingle, and we'll put all of the details in the show notes for you. Have a great week.
Thanks, Paul.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to the podcast. And what I want you to do next is rank us everywhere you can. Instagram at The Black Doctor. Just become part of our collective. I want you here. Thanks. Until next time. Bye.